Hello Pixels, welcome back to my tutorial series of this cave shroom tree. It's a special fantasy vegetation prop, and this is part 3 of, I guess, 4 parts. In this episode I want to focus on the UV layout, and I need to do some preparations before we start. So I will give you just a little introduction what this part will be about. So the first thing is that I want to add as well an image plane. The image plane should get only a texture information, and yeah, this is some transparent stuff, or I will work with opacity. The second thing is that I will create an UV layout for all of this part, and I will make set the UV themes. I am creating the UV layout. Just what I have here, because this is not finished. You see that some parts are not connected with the tree so far, but I need to do the UV layout first. Because I'm working with instances, I just want to have the similar objects should share all the same UV space. So yeah, so I want to do the UV layout first, then I will adjust the geometry and connect it with the tree trunk or whatever. Yeah, when this is done, I will adjust the UV light again with the new objects or with the new geometry I have created so far. Before we start, I want to honor our patrons, which supports our work and our doing everything around Cortex and as well this YouTube channel. I want to honor Simon Sineda, David Heinzel, Erich Gangl, Melina Brunner, Robert Hartl, Reinhard Bauer and Maximilian Heinle for their support. Thank you so much for supporting Cortex and 25 games. If you're interested to supporting us as well, just visit the link below. But let's start with this part now. Okay, let's start with the image plane I was talking before. Yep, we are still here in our 3D scene, and this is the state of work from last time. I will create just a plane. It is created here on the 3D cursor because yeah, I guess we just place it there the last time. Very important here is that to consider the backface culling. So what does backface culling mean? Backface culling is the direction where the face is looking at. So for sure, this is just a flat image or just a flat plane, but it has two sides. So here is the one side and here is the second side. And here, by pressing N, you have the scroll bar here, and you have as well here in shading the point backface culling. And if you're activating this one, so you this shows you where's the direction, where is the visible side of the 3D geometry. So you see here with everything is okay, but when you will look at the underneath it, then you can really pass through this. So there's no information about the face, because the face normal is watching to this direction, to the upper part. So you can control your view by selecting this option here. And this is as well very important for game engine. So if you import the 3D mesh to Unity, it can as well only show one direction of the face. For sure that it is possible to adjust your Unity settings so that you can see both sides. So you have only one image, but you are rendering both sides. But this is as well what it actually means. You have to render the face always 2 times. And this is unperformant actually. So if you're looking, if the game engine only renders one side, then you don't have to render the other side. For example, it is good actually to render the geometry if you have only a plane, but consider if you're rendering both sides of this 3D object. So if we are going inside here, you can see through the mesh, because yeah, it is always one direction of the face. But if we are rendering both sides, then this is very unperformant with those many triangles and faces. So I would advise you to only render one side of the geometry. This is default, so yeah, for sure you have to adjust it if you want to render both sides. But what can we do that if we are placing texture information on one side, that you can see as well the underneath side as well? And I'm usually doing this by duplicating the face and flip the face, flip the normals. I will show you this, but before I will do this, I will create a very rough branch plane. So if we're checking our concept, then you can see that I have here this little branch, and yeah, it's not very big, but as well you can model it, but then I will get a higher count of vertices. So I choose an image plane which have only a transparent area, but for sure this is as well, you have to deal with performance as well by working with opacity or transparency, but it has less geometry. Yes, and let's place it, where should it be in the end? Let's check this out, somewhere here. It should come out from this place, something like this, and it is pretty low, and I can for sure share as well the texture space later and reuse it. So where should it go? Maybe it should start somewhere here, then here. And how long is this branch? Yeah, this should be okay. Then I will, oh sorry, I didn't activate it screencast. So for example, when I'm I press double times G, then I can slide along my edges till to this point where we started. And when I press Alt, then I can slide as well to the other direction to make it bigger or smaller. So yeah, just if you don't know. I will add as well here another loop. And this looks now pretty okay. Go to the top view and I will rotate this to this position or something like this. Okay. Then what should be next? Yeah, but actually this should be, oh, sorry. Oh, I just want to place the plane like this, and yeah. If you can imagine already the branch and where is all the little tiny branches and where maybe some leaves or whatever, then you can make it like this. I focus where's the edge going or this vertex, and there will be my origin of this branch. And so first go to edit mode and select the vertex. Then press Shift S and select cursor to selected. So your 3D cursor is now here. And when you go now to object mode, then you can press Ctrl Alt Shift C. Well, it's a long key combination, but then you can select geometry origin to 3D cursor. and then your 3D cursor is exactly there where the vertex is. I think this is very useful, and then you can for sure, this is your angle point, and you can rotate it where to which direction you ever, to this direction you wanna. Yes, this looks good, and I will adjust this as well. Maybe I will add some more geometry as well here. Okay, this is fine. I will combine those meshes now. So select first this one, then this one, press Ctrl J. So this is now one single mesh. And the next part is to creating the UV layout. So I want to create first my UV layout for the tree trunk itself. Then I want to create the UV layout for the shrooms and the shroom cups. And then I will release all the instances and merge everything together. Okay. Go to isolated mode. I have now everything, just the tree. So just the tree trunk itself. And the question now is, have we marked any seams? Yes. So you can as well activate the seams as well. So if something is sharp or not, or seams as well. So I see now that we have here some seams. I did this in the previous version of this episode, and I will create now here, 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 and here a UV seam. Control E. Yes, then go to Edge Data and mark seam. It should be as well. It should be as well here, I guess. Yes, here it is as well. If you don't want to the shortcuts, you can mark seams as well. But I go with shortcuts. This is so much faster, and yeah, I really prefer this. Sorry. So okay, then selecting this, mark seam. Then here as well, this edge, mark seam. So we have this here as well. Then I will go with this. To which direction is this going? Yeah, you see that I'm selecting edges only on the underneath side. So if you're looking from top side, so the UV layout will be okay. But we have the UV seams on the bottom side. But I will do some texture painting in 3D texture painting in Blender as well. But I guess in the next episode I need to check how long it will take to create this part here. Okay, then this one, mark seam. Yes. So then somewhere here, this unlucky object here need to be as well, and seam. I said unlucky because this was so time wasting to create this without this curve tool. If you watch the previous episode, then you see that I have made a little mistake on this one here. So basically it doesn't matter where this seam is, because I will do in texture painting and hide the UV cut later as well. So we need here and here and UV cut, and I will just check if this is actually working. So getting some space here. Go here on this icon and go to UV image editor. Important is that I press double A, or just A for select everything, and press U to unwrap this. And you can already see that we have here now some elements. Okay, so when you unwrap this, then you get this result. But I need to warn you, if you haven't considered something, because I need to check this first. So the scale is okay, but basically I mentioned this in a previous tutorial of mine as well. If you have any scaling or rotation values, then this could be a problem for the unwrapping process. So if there is not one in scale, or if there's not one in rotation, then you can apply those values. For example, if you press Ctrl A, then you can apply, for example, rotation scale, and then your unwrapping process should be okay. Just for information. Yeah, I see that for sure my tree trunk is pretty long, and I just have my unique UV layout here. This will be not an entitleable texture, so I want to get as much texture information as possible in this little square. So there should be as less free space as possible. And yeah, when I just have a long tree trunk, then I will waste some texture space. So what is my solution? My solution is to add here another edge loop. And with this edge loop, I will split those parts, and I can place the UV layout in a higher resolution, because when I press A for everything, so select everything and unwrap this, then all faces will get an equal UV space for the related size. For example, for sure there's more space than our UV layout is laid on right now, because this UV island is related to the size of this one. So for sure this can't be really bigger, because it's one long UV island, but for sure this could be basically placed bigger, but it is related to the size of this one. So this is the reason why this is only this size, and this is as well the reason why I split it now, the tree trunk here, so that we can as well select everything and unwrap this again, and you see now that everything is different. So we have split the tree trunk to this and this part. And so every single island is now bigger than before. So we can share more texture information to those islands than we had before. And this was our intention. And I can hide all UV seams later by the texture painting tools. And this is very important. So if you don't work with the texture painting tool in 3D, so it will be a little bit hard to hide those UV cuts. But yes, I will show you everything about this. You see as well, there's the texture plane, and yeah, the UV layout is right now a mess. So I will switch this button here, which is actually keep UV and edit mode mesh in synchrone. So if we unselected everything, then this is still here, but if we if we disable this one, so the UV editor shows only the selected objects. So you can see here just this one. But if I'm disabling this again, then everything is again here. So yeah, it depends what you want to do. But please keep in mind, if you selecting this button, this vertex, this vertex is as well selected because those are this is the same vertex actually. Here, this one. This is just a different UV island, but they are in sync. So if I'm moving this one, the other one is as well influenced. But if I just selecting this one, this is okay. This is as well with the rest of this. For example, this one. Then we have as well selected this one. So it is different if you have this disabled. So you can, for example, just move this one, and this one is just on again on. This is still on the same position, but this one not. So I will bring this back, selecting everything. So maybe we can get a better result by pressing Pack Islands, Control P. So everything should be in a better order, or it could be in a better order. I still think this is not very good, so maybe I should do this by hand. So placing this in a different position, so this could be actually be better. Whereas my so the automatic mapping is working with rectangles. So if you have a rectangle, which is, so the environment has an outer rectangle which is this size, or this is taking this space. So if there's something which is, so the automatic UV layout can't place something like this, because this will influence the space rectangle which it needs. And so sometimes you need to adjust your UV layout by hand. This makes it easier. I wanna place this here underneath, so I can place this here. As well, automatic mapping wouldn't do this, because for sure the space is needed for all this here, and it is not possible to place an UV island here. So where is this one now? I will give it this place, and this one should be good question. This here, and then maybe it is possible. No, it's still not possible. Maybe here, this one. Yes, this is fitting. I can place this here. Then I can move this again a little bit to this direction. And then this fits here perfectly. So yes, and we have here some extra space. You see that I spared some space on this left side and then the bottom's left side as well. And this is for the shrooms. I will place there the shrooms. Right now they are not part of the connected mesh, but this will be the next step. So I will I will leave the isolated view, and I've hidden as well the basic shrooms. So when I press Alt H, then I will get my basic shrooms back. And I need just what and the only thing what I have to do now is to creating a UV layer for one, and every other single instance gets the same UV seams. What are the same UVs? The same UVs, yes. What I will do now is 1, 2, and it's already working, yes. So 1, 2, 3. Mark seam. So this is the first one. Then this will be the second UV seam, mark seam. If you are deactivating sharp right now, then you have this result. So, and the last thing is to cut those cup on a particular place, mark seam. And when I selecting now all my elements, oops, press U to unwrap this, and you see this is my main shroom outer part, this is the inner part, and this is the little tiny thing here on this side. So yep, this is the first shroom, and keep in mind that every single shroom here shares the UV, the same UV space right now here. So there's still a single vertex, but this is this part here, because I haven't unwrapped this right now. So every single vertex shares the same UV space position, and this is the reason why this is just a one single dot here. Go to the next room. I have to do exactly the same, so nothing special, you know. Oops. Selecting this one and this one, and this one, and this one. Mark seam, and selecting everything here. U to unwrap this, and I will place this on the top part here. And the last thing is the little tiny one here, which is as well pretty simple. Selecting this, mark seam, and this as well, mark seam. Perfect. This is fine. This is fine. So unwrap this. And now it's time to combine our meshes to one single UV map. Well guys, I need to say sorry. I need to apologize. I give you a little wrong information. So it is not called an instance, it is called a linked duplicate. So yeah, instance is as well a little bit something different. So yeah, it's just a duplicate. This is Shift D is duplicate, but Alt D is a linked duplicate. So they share all the same data. And for example, when you want to modify an object or a shroom cup here, then it's hard because every every other part will move as well. So is it possible to release this link or to delete this linked duplicate from the others? For sure, it is possible. So if you press in object mode the button U, it's not for unwrapping. So in edit mode, U is for UV mapping, but in object mode, U is for make single user, and then you need to select object and data. And if you go to edit mode now, so you can modify your object again, and so you can modify your object again, and it's not influencing the others as well. So, okay, this was as well a very important question. I will select now everything, and selecting my tree trunk at last, and press Ctrl J. You see now that for sure they are not linked anymore. So because we merged everything, and this is now all one single mesh. But the good thing is that we have already made our UV layout. So if I'm selecting only those UV islands here, then every single shroom is influenced by this. And this is very important. So I can modify everything now. I will place this here. Where's this one? Oh, this is as well here. So I will place the not unfolded islands in the bottom side here now. But yeah, very important is that you have to care about what you're doing now. If I press now unwrap my UV shells again, then it will, every single UV island will be placed beside each other, so it's not overlapped again, and this is not what I wanted. So I want to that every single UV island is sharing the same UV space. Sorry. So I will make this smaller, and this is the smallest, so probably something like this. Yes. So this is number 1, number 2, and number 3. And I need to place those UV islands, all this on a place where it fits. Probably it is still too big, so making this smaller, and try to place this now on a position where it is fitting. Yeah, it's not that easy. This is probably a good position here. This looks good. I need to care now as well to the inner part. Maybe this will go this place, and this will go. This is not too easy. Where should we place this? Try to spare some UV texture space. So I got here again a little hole. maybe I can gain some more space by rotating the single elements. This is now a little bit bad. Why I placed this here? So yes, so I need to place now this UV island on the position where it is able to rest. This is bad. I don't want to do this, but I need to scale it down a little bit so that it is fitting here to this part here. Yeah, I will place it here, so I have here as well some extra space. Then this is the small one. Where should I place this one? Oh, I can place this here. And you see that my unique UV space is slowly be filled. And this is exactly what I want. So the automatic fill function is not always the best. And you have to play puzzle to get a good result. So I will place this here. Yes. And sadly, I made a little mistake here on this UV island because I doesn't assign a seam on this one. So yeah, now this is a circle and I wanted to have this shape like the others. So I need to do this. I will fasten this process forward. Well guys, I just did this and now it's working, so I can bring this to a smaller size now. And yes, I will place it here because I have the UV space for this one here now. Yes, I will add now some little details as well, and I will fasten this up. So I added some more details, some little tiny spikes or whatever this is here. Yeah, just this one here. And what I want to do now at least is, for sure I need to place the UVs here in the correct position as well. But I want to connect now my shroom cups with the tree trunk, with this connection part here. And yes, I will speed up this process as well, because it's just some placement of new, or it's some scaling or rotating some new AVs. And yeah, I need to do as well the UV layout for them, so that it's not just a single color. And I will see you later. So guys, I adjusted now all the shafts or the stem here, so that they're fitting together to the tree trunk. For example, yeah, this is now longer, and so this connected. But here at this point, this is a little bit a problem. But basically it's not really a problem. I just want to create here a transition by mesh, so I will delete all these faces and connect it with this mesh. So this and this mesh should be connected in the end. And yes, first I will select this. First I will select this and hide the rest. So I see now that I can delete all these faces, this and this faces, yes, and actually I can delete these faces here as well. So go back to my whole mesh, and I want to start now to bridge those faces. I will bridge those edges just by pressing F. This is the command for fill. And I want to try to bring all this here together. Yes, so the problem is that we have here different amounts of vertices, and so this is maybe not pretty clean, the transition here, but it isn't really a problem. Yeah, you see now that we got now the transition, and yes, the time is over, so I can't continue with the texture. I was a little bit overestimated by doing this, even though I will just finish my UV layout now by unwrapping all the stems here, all the shafts, and placing it in my UV layout, and then I will end this tutorial and I will start texturing this pretty prop in my next part of this tutorial. Okay guys, again a little fastening of this video. Okay guys, I placed now all the stems around my texture, so the stems will get a pretty tiny UV space. So I placed them in the little holes here and around there, and you see I have still some very tiny holes, and maybe I will, I have another idea how to fill them, but basically the UV layout is pretty good, and I can export this now and import this to Photoshop or any 2D software and can start painting the texture. So this was a pretty interesting tutorial, or a pretty interesting part. I combined now everything and it looks pretty nice now. I want to duplicate maybe the image plane mesh. I need to adjust and duplicate this in the next part when I have placed a texture to this material. And yes, it looks pretty good now, and as well, if I miss something I can just duplicate it, but basically I released now all linked duplicated objects. So, but they share all the same UV space. This is very good, and I can share and spare as well some texture space with this method. So I just placed those 3 shroom cups and the bottom side one time, and I can place them as often as I wanna, and the texture resolution isn't too big for this one. So thank you very much for watching, and if you liked this video, please give us the chance to continue with more tutorials and give us a like or subscribe to our YouTube channel. This will help us a lot. It is as well possible to subscribe to our newsletter. There you will get a weekly information about Cortex and what we are currently doing, and there's as well the information about every new tutorial which is released to YouTube as well. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something for your project or for your problem, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask us in the comments. So far so good. Till the next time, cheers. Ba ba ba. Yeah.